Greetings, viewers. I am your host and storyteller, Sylvanov. Thank you for joining us while we delve into the world of darkness with Vampire the Masquerade. This stream is intended for a mature audience and does contain mature themes that may not be suitable for all viewers. This game revolves around a dark horror theme and contains content that may be an emotional trigger for some audience members. Please keep in mind that this is a work of fiction. The views and actions of the characters are not explicitly the views or actions of the actual players. At no time should any of the violence or horror portrayed in our game be attempted by anyone, at any time, for any reason. Please sit back, grab a drink and a snack, and join us on the shadowy path that is the world of darkness. And now before we start, please meet and welcome our players for the evening.
Hello, my name's the Pesky Paladin, and I shall be playing James Morrison.
Hello, my name is Brand the Wolf, at Brand the Wolf on Twitter, and I am going to be playing Major Delaney.
And once again, I am Sylvanov. I'll be your host and storyteller. And welcome once again to another vignette leading into this weekend. Hopefully we're getting everyone interested in what's actually going to be happening. When last we saw Dr. James Morrison and Mr. Daoud, his partner, they had taken Jacqueline Deary, aka Jax, the survivor of the Marrakesh farm incident, back to Quantico for a debriefing, an interrogation. Hard to say. A day later, Mr. Morrison, getting into his car, driving north on Route 1, back towards Woodbridge, to the safe house provided by the ever-present alphabet soup of government agencies. Approaching, pulls up alongside in a nice Northern Virginia suburb, not unlike any other across America. Nice single-family homes, small yards, the occasional person walking a dog. Traffic, no more than usual in the neighborhood. James receives a call on his cell phone. It's his partner, Morrison.
So, answer the phone. Morrison.
Dr. Morrison, we have need to follow up with the good doctor.
Yes, certainly. Sounds like an idea. When would you like to do that?
I think sooner rather than later. It is imperative that we find out more about who she is doing business with, who she is treating, who she is seeing, and who she is knowing.
Sounds good. Should we call ahead, book an appointment, or should we...
I think surprise visit would be much more effective.
I like that idea, yes. Yeah, certainly. I'll try and get there as soon as possible, and I'll meet you there.
As James begins to exit his car, still talking on the phone, an unmarked white van comes to a screeching halt next to him, the side door sliding open viciously. Men in balaclavas and black suits fire multiple tasers into him, causing him to drop his phone, drop to the ground convulsing, as one of the men jumps out, manhandling and muscling him into the van, sticking a needle into his neck, injecting him with God only knows what. The door slides shut. The van drives away as quickly as it appears, leaving his vehicle open, his phone and keys now on the ground where he once stood. The scene dissolves away. Back to Manassas, Prince William County, the regional airport, where recently landed a Thomas Delaney is picked up in one of the St. Clair Enterprises private SUVs, a driver delivering him quickly to the St. Clair estate. A team of attendants unloading his bags and ushering him quickly to the front door, where he is met by someone we have not seen from in quite a while. Mr. Alfred, standing prim, proper, tuxedoed, and attentive. You must be Mr. Delaney.
That is Major Delaney, my dear chap.
Major, if you prefer.
Please.
I am Alfred.
Ah, yes, I have been made aware of you and your inestimable capabilities. I look forward to working hand in hand with you in many ways.
My gratitude, but the flattery is not necessary, Miss Major. I am a servant to Miss St. Clair and her interests. I have for you a dossier, as you had requested. Oh, where is my camera? Oh, my lord. I apologize, viewing audience. As he hands you a stack of manila folders, a USB key, and a black proximity card with a red stripe, the St. Clair logo, and your name on it. You'll find instructions, a map of the grounds, the rules of the estate, and protocols in the folder, sir. Is there anything that we can do for you?
As far as I know, I had some repast prepared for me, as well as duties that must be performed post haste.
Yes, sir.
Have the rooms been prepped?
Your rooms have been prepped for yourself and your servant. Martin is his name?
Yes.
Yes, Martin. In the folder, you will find a key for him as well, as a set of instructions specifically for him, where he can go, where he cannot, what he can do, what he can't. There's a phone in every room. All you need to do is pick it up and I will answer. Or if I am unavailable, one of the house servants will.
Fantastic. Lead the way.
He opens the front door, allows the servants to pass by with your baggage, belongings, and off they disappear up the stairs, around corners, down hallways. As Alfred leads you in, he motions off to the left, where there's a beautiful atrium where there are priceless works of art, statues, antiquities, a nice waiting room and lounge. Off to the right is a small den. He motions down further past the atrium, where there's another hallway, explaining that that leads to the boardroom and meeting room, which is a secure facility. And then further ushers you into the estate proper, towards the library, where he's prepared a desk for you. It's a 3-story library with tomes of ancient, dusty, moldy smell, all the way into the most recent of publications. It is a well-suited library. He allows you to your business and excuses himself to see to your needs.
I will have a seat at the desk and start going over the dossiers.
The papers include some papers among some of the members of the domain. Most notably, there's a dossier on one Ezekiel Ephraim White. There's a dossier on Mr. Jonathan Keats, on a Tim Toon. There's mention of a Virginia Stone, though the file is lighter than others. There's a new file that seems to only have a single entry about an Annabelle Nightingale and a Mr. Sam Smith.
Those will be interesting conversations to be had at another time. Martin, I believe we have a guest waiting for our particular attentions.
Yes. Major, Mr. Alfred has said that arrangements are being made and we will shortly be escorted to where we need to be to meet our new guest.
Lovely. Make sure you bring that 64 with us.
Absolutely, sir.
I'm feeling quite parched, and I feel like lubrication will help in our conversation.
Your man, Martin, also hands you a thicker folder. Various government agencies, emblems, and logos adorn the outside of the envelope. When you open it, there are two sets of files. One says James Morrison. The other says Mohsen Daoud.
Oh, such a festive career he's had. And this is the man we're taking into custody.
Yes, Mr. James Morrison, sir. We intercepted him at his home in Woodbridge, just north of Quantico.
Who conducted the rendition?
I believe no one as yet, sir.
Make sure that they clean up after themselves. No need to make it look like anything is amiss.
Absolutely. As you peer over the paperwork, the handset on the desk that seems to be well recessed into it, a small LED alights next to it, seems to signify that there's an incoming signal.
Activate it.
Major Delaney.
Is this Alfred?
Yes.
Yes, Alfred.
I believe your guest has been provisioned. If you'll meet me in the hallway, I will escort you and Martin to where he's being held.
Very good, Alfred. We will be with you presently. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. And he hangs up.
Well, dear Martin, once more into the breach, old chap?
Of course, sir.
And I will stand, don my coat, and make sure that my 45 semi-automatic is firmly seated in its holster, and proceed.
Martin follows you out to the hallway. You look left towards the front door, and then right, where you'll see Alfred towards the end of the hallway, standing in front of what looks like a very ornate wooden, almost a door, but not quite. He flashes a proximity card in front of it, and it recesses back into the wall, exposing an elevator. And he motions for the two of you to enter. The three of you enter the elevator, the doors close, and gravity tells you that this thing is descending. The estate on the outside looked to only be a 2-story building, though the elevator descends for a ways. Hard to tell in the enclosed environment, but when it comes to a stop, the elevator doors again open, and there is a simple propane-powered cart with 2 seats in the front and a pair of benches behind it in a long maintenance hallway, or what could rather be construed as a tunnel. Alfred quickly mounts the driver's seat, fires up the cart, and awaits the two of you. When you sit, he begins driving. It travels for quite a ways. The tunnels are immaculate. They are absolutely clean. There is a little bit of exposed piping, lots of wiring tucked into recesses along the ceiling with, caged industrial lighting all the length of the tunnel. When he finally comes to a stop, it's at a T where the tunnel branches off first to the left and to the right. Alfred motions to the right. He says, if you wish to return to the airport, it is this way.
Brilliant.
The underground access for the data center is this way as he turns the cart left. Again, he travels for a ways, hard to tell, underground. And it dead ends at a large industrial size, what looks like a cargo door of some kind, which again, after he gets out of the cart, flashes a proximity badge to a place on the wall. There's no markings. The doors do open into yet another large cargo elevator that descends even further, opening into a very dark, dimly lit, short tunnel that leads to an area that contains 6 cells. As you pass by, each of the cells seems to be immaculately clean. There are large viewing windows that go into them. You can probably assume that they're one-way mirrors or some form of viewing. Although there seems to be no kind of device for listening or talking, one would kind of assume that it's there. He gets to the last door on the left, and as you look in, if I click the button, it might actually show up. There is indeed someone sitting at a steel table, cuffed to the chair, a black hood over his face, with not more than a tank top shirt and his boxers. Alfred indicates to the door and says, "I must return to the estate. You know the way. Your card will grant you access to where you need to go, sir."
Thank you very much, Alfred. We will be returning as soon as we are done with this
Of course.
individual.
I will have someone return the cart after I've made my way back.
Thank you again very much, Alfred.
It's my pleasure, Major Delaney. I look forward to working with you, sir. Good evening.
As do I. And I will start going more in depth into the dossier on Mr. Morrison before entering the room.
James.
Oh, Alfred, one more real quick question for you, chap.
Yes, Major.
How long has he been in there?
The crew has told me he's been in there several hours.
Brilliant, thank you.
Of course.
Well, Martin, do keep an eye on him. And, as always, forgive me, I've been reading the dossiers on some of the individuals we've been sent to watch, and it is going to be quite a thrill.
I'm sure you will tell me when the time needs to know, sir. I will await your completion of your task.
Oh, no, you're coming in here with me, dear boy.
Oh, of course.
And I will take my 45 out and secure it in the gun safe so that if things go sideways, I don't give my prisoner a gun.
Excellent. James, you were delivered, bagged, hooded, ear-muffed, to an unknown, cold environment after some hours of being unconscious, and only recently starting to come back into focus. You can tell there's something over your head. You can tell that the sound is excessively muffled, and when you try to speak, you can hear the muffle of your own voice, indicating that your hearing has been dampened in some way. The moment of struggle tells you that your ankles and wrists have been secured to the chair you are seated in. The room is cold. The floor beneath you is a polished concrete. It's smooth and slick, almost has a moist feel from being cold. The air in the room is stale, uncirculated, a bit uncomfortable. You know the position you're in, as you have had many people in this position in your past. There's a unwavering sense of nausea. There's almost a slight disassociation from your physical sensations. Your training tells you that you were probably injected with some kind of ketamine or other dissociative antipsychotic. This is bad. Your gut tells you this is bad. This is as bad as it gets. You can hear the muffled sound and you feel a difference in air pressure as you hear a slight thunk. There's the quiet pad of feet. From as far as you can tell, 2 persons have entered the room.
Morton, do be a dear and take off all of his accoutrement, please.
Of course, sir. There's a quick jerk as light floods your eyes, almost blindingly. The earmuffs are removed. As you look forward, Thomas, please tell us what you look like. Describe Mr. Delaney.
You see a tall, slender man, attractive, sitting across from you. He's wearing sort of a tactical long-sleeve shirt and trousers, very nice shoes, and he has his legs crossed and he has a file in front of him and he's sort of, leafing through it, turning pages, and he looks up at you. Your name is...
Dr. James Morrison. What am I doing here? Just please let me go. I promise not to tell the police or anyone. What is it you want? Is it money? Is it what is it? I can get you what you need. Just
relax, dear boy, relax.
The second person you heard into the room, you can almost hear him breathing behind you, but he's far enough that if you turn, you can barely catch a glimpse of him out of your periphery, but he is staying out of your line of sight.
ST, assumption of competence. Can I blush of life before going into the room?
Yes.
That is a 7. I am successful.
Excellent.
And forgive me, I'm not from around here. Can you tell me what this acronym is that you apparently work for?
Oh, NIM, that's the National Institute of Mental Health. It's what I do. It's my job. I work for them.
And currently you have a patient named Jacqueline Deary, or is it just Jacqueline Deary, as these colonials are like to do with languages better than their own?
I can't really discuss patient details with you.
I'm not asking for details, my dear boy. I'm asking if this is your patient.
The second gentleman leans in behind you, almost intimately close. Don't be coy, Mr. Morrison.
Yes, the time for, doctor-patient confidentiality has left you far in the rear view, my dear boy. Now it is time to save your skin, as it were.
Look, please tell me what this is about.
Oh, we'll get to that, my dear boy. We'll get to that. You say your name is Dr. James Morrison. What are you a doctor of exactly?
I'm a psychiatrist. I deal with people who've suffered extreme trauma, and I try to help them. It's what I do. It's my job. I don't see what's so important about me.
Sound of a cabinet opening behind you. You can hear some rustling, metal on metal sounds as Martin walks around finally to one side of the table, off to your right, places a small roll on the table and unrolls it. And almost Hollywood-esque, displays a series of surgical tools, lays out a pair of syringes, a couple of vials that are unlabeled, and quietly puts on a pair of gloves.
And where did you say you attended university?
It was the University of Durham. It's where I studied. I'm from the northeast of England. It's where I went. I wanted to go local.
Well, shall we get to the nitty-gritty?
Like, he's just kind of remains sort of silent, whimpering almost at that.
You've told me several lies, James.
Martin picks up a vial and a syringe and starts to fill it, dramatically slow.
So, I'm going to tell you how this is going to go. From here on out, you will be painfully honest with me. Or my associate here is going to just be painful with you.
Listen here, please, sir. I've got no reason to lie to you. I just want to go home. Just please let me go, and I promise not to tell anyone.
You've got no reason to lie to me. You've got no reason to lie to me, and yet I have a photograph here of you entering Thames House. Forgive me, but isn't MI5 located at Thames House?
I guess so, possibly. I mean,
also, I'm not really used to psychiatrists from Durham carrying around issue 9mm.
Look, it's a whole dual nationality. I've got American citizenship. Isn't it a constitutional right to be able to carry firearms in this country?
Also,
something like this doesn't happen.
I'm also not used to doctors staying in FBI safe houses.
FBI safe houses? What is this? Some sort of TV?
Martin sidesteps the table, takes the 2 paces beside Mr. Morrison, grabs him by the hair, pulling his head to one side, and deftly sticks the needle directly into his aorta and depresses the plunger.
At this point, James's muscles tense, and is it handcuffs or zip ties on his wrists?
Oh, handcuffs. They're serious handcuffs. These are steel.
Yeah. They kind of the pressure that he's putting, it kind of digs in to his into the skin, and it
Mr.
becomes
Morrison,
quite painful.
I assure you, your lies are coming to an end. And he quickly pulls the syringe out of your neck and places 2 fingers over a piece of gauze to stop the bleeding. There's a almost immediate wash of euphoria, coupled with a sense of vertigo. Your vision tunnels and starts to change. There's a cold sensation that goes immediately to your head and then to your chest, and by the time it hits your heart, explodes out to the rest of your body. Mr. Morrison, I must tell you, I have given you a cocktail, the effects of which are going to be unpleasant in about 6 minutes if I do not issue this other injection. I promise you want to tell the Major the truth. And he tapes over the piece of gauze and walks back to his side of the table and takes a seat next to Major.
And I flash him my 1,000,000-watt Ventrue smile. So, shall we dispense with the games and get down to brass tacks, my dear boy?
I don't feel so good. I guess so.
Believe me, it will begin to feel so much worse. However, I have the antidote ready to go.
Question for the storyteller. So,
Yes, sir.
sorry, with the effects of this, it's sort of like truth serum, or
So it's a mix of sodium pentothal, ketamine, and a couple of other nastiness things that loosen your grip on reality. Give you a second dose of disassociation, which loosens your ability to resist hypnotic suggestion as well as subversive thoughts.
okay.
It loosens your brain.
His sort of first reaction is to almost kind of slightly giggle and just go, "What are you, some kind of Bond villain? This is just."
Martin
No,
giggles
no,
with you.
no. Bond is nothing more than trite misogyny. Ah, my dear boy, I am the only friend you have left in this world. I want to help you. At which point I will activate awe. I want you to not only survive this encounter, but to thrive in all your future endeavors, and I will help you do that. But first, I need to know who it is you work for, what your interest in this Jacqueline Dery is, and, excuse me, forgive me, I forget this is America, Jacqueline Deary is, and
Martin leans
really
over.
any other pertinent information you wish to share with me.
Dr. Weiss.
Your interest in Dr. Weiss?
You have a few things that immediately happen in your brain, James. The drugs take full effect, and the sensation of the Major being the most likable person you've ever seen, almost instantly trustworthy. But also in the back of your brain, your training screams a warning. You were told this would happen. You were told this exact thing would happen. You've been conditioned to resist this, though you've never been through this exactly.
James smiles at Major Thomas and goes, "Just could you please loosen loosen the handcuffs a little bit? I don't really talk so well when I'm bound and tied up and all that. I mean,
I'll tell you what. I will tell you this, Doctor. Trust is a two-way street. Give me a reason to trust you, and then I will show you trust in return. But until you start answering some of my questions,
5 minutes, Mr.
Trust
Morrison. The
cannot-
clock's ticking.
TikTok.
at that point, he goes, I mean, Jax, she's part of an investigation. She was a witness to those horrible things that happened at the Marrakesh farm. Like, talk about a bloodbath. I mean, Jesus.
And what happened at the Marrakesh farm?
I don't know how to even describe it.
Try.
Like, massacre. Like, it makes up. It's like a horror movie on steroids, but real. All of those bodies everywhere, and she saw exactly what happened. We needed to know what she knew, and Dr. Weiss, with a little psychedelic cocktail of teas or whatever it is she used, it helped kind of unlock that little door in her brain where she hid all of those nasty little memories. It was key to what we needed to know, what was behind that door.
And what was behind that door, Dr. Morrison?
Pain. or like can
Dear
really
boy, give me details.
Give me
Or
a composure and willpower, James.
okay. Composure and willpower. That's composure 2 for 6 dice. So, 1 success.
There's a moment where you think you've said too much. But then his smile, it's so friendly. You can't help but trust someone like this. He's being so open. He's being so forward and honest. Maybe he works for us. Maybe this is a test.
At this point, James smiles and goes, well, you've not exactly shouted or screamed at me. I mean, aside from the handcuffs and the roughhousing that went on with the van, I guess I can trust you. It sounds so weird saying it out loud, but we're hunting down vampires.
vampires, really?
Martin looks at the Major, a knowing look.
Vampires.
Yeah, abominations, a lot of them.
Abominations, really?
Yeah.
Oof, that's quite a... Are you quite certain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen what they can do. That Marrakesh farm, beyond just the violent, what they did there pales in comparison to what they've done for countless centuries. And it's my job to find their little hidey holes and turn them to dust.
I see. And who supports you in these endeavors to find these hidey holes and turn them to dust?
People with common interests, governments, wacky zealots. Pretty sure the Vatican are in there somewhere, but hey, I don't really get paid to ask questions.
Well, who does pay you?
Probably some illegal offshore government account, but the money's good, and you should see the pension plan.
James, please, be honest with me, my dear boy. Tell me who it is you work for.
3 minutes, Mr. Morrison.
Sorry, storyteller, just for clarity, like exactly who, just is the Second Inquisition like its name, or is it?
No. They know who they are. You know who they are. You definitely work for them, but there's a bigger picture that they're not just a single entity. So yes, you could admit that it's the Second Inquisition. You could hold that back. You could name any dozen government agencies and not be lying.
Yeah.
Or even a couple of different governments.
Yeah. When I look back at him, and well, there's a lot of middlemen, but I guess you could say that I work for on Her Majesty's Secret Service, as it were, British intelligence, Her Majesty's government, the United States Department of Defense are probably in there somewhere, and even Rome, probably. All over the place.
Give him the shot, man.
Are you sure?
Quite.
Martin stands up, goes back to his kit, picks up the second vial and a syringe, slowly fills it. You still have 90 seconds, sir.
Oh, I don't think we need this level of persuasion. I think that Agent Morrison is more than willing to cooperate.
Are you, Mr. Morrison? Willing?
Well, if it gets me out of this very, very nasty cold room, I guess so. But hey, I guess if the bosses hear how much I've blabbed, you might as well just kill me now.
Dear boy,
because they'll do
absolutely
something far
no
worse.
intention of killing you. I have no intention of killing you. Your death is absolutely the last thing that I desire. As a matter of
Really?
fact, and I will stand up and I will take off my coat and I will drape it around him to help him warm up a little bit. There's nothing in the coat.
As he does, Martin walks to the other side, tapping on his elbow and quickly sticking the needle into his arm, depressing the plunger. This will have no immediate effect, but the bad stuff won't happen. Enjoy the ride.
It is quite a fun ride, so I've been told.
I've been on more interesting rides, but this is certainly different.
Again, a new wave of euphoria washes. Although you're not quite as disassociative, there's a little bit more cognition, a little bit more awareness of the now. Thoughts in your brain start replaying the conversation that you've already had. The tick boxes begin to get filled with how fucked you really are.
So with that, am I starting to become slightly more cognizant, kind
Yes.
of realizing shit?
Yes.
And at that point, like I'm trying to remain calm, but that realization is starting to kind of
Thomas, there's a tension in his face as you can see the awareness return to his eyes. The dissociative effects begin to linger and dissipate. The alertness returns.
Agent Morrison.
yes.
Now, tell me about your team here in this region.
It's just me and one other guy.
And what is his name?
It's Mosin. Sorry, pronunciation on the second part. It's Mosin Al Daoud. Bit of a prickly fella, but gets the job done. Very efficient. Soft side.
Your conversation with Dr. Vic and
Vice, sir.
Vice, excuse me.
Janet Vice.
Yes, here it is. Thank you, Martin. Thank you. Vice, Dr. Vice. What exactly was discussed in the after effects of your interrogation of Miss Deary?
Well, she took that magic tea from that quack, and all sorts started coming out. Like a bit foggy, but from what I can remember, she was talking about a blue ribbon in her hair and blood covering her, and also the name Ezekiel. I think.
Other names flood into your mind, but your training dissuades you from uttering them.
Is there anything else you would like to tell me? I'm going to persuade him.
How would you like to do that?
Using my wits plus persuasion. if I may.
You may.
My awe is still up, so I should be able to.
That'll give you an extra die.
Ooh. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes with a critical.
James, you have you're using persuasion, so it'll be wits and awareness, actually.
Wits and awareness. So that's, I've got 5 dice there. One sec. That is 2 successes.
Yeah, so the names float to the tip of your tongue. Victor Costa was mentioned, Soraka, Tim Toon, Virginia Stone, and of course, Ephraim White.
Yeah. So yeah, I relay those names to him, and there is still that kind of that tension, but like you were saying as well, that sort of sense of trust as well there. Like, yeah.
Agent Morrison, James. If I may I call you James?
Friends call me Jim.
Jim, lovely. My face is Ventrue smiles, but I'm very rapidly tapping on the pad of paper in front of me.
Mm.
You have been an absolute delight. So it's just you and this Agent Al-Daoud.
Yeah, it's just us two.
The tech lies.
Oh, I won't even make you roll for it. Yeah.
He's lying.
Oh, of course.
Jim. Who else is here?
Does it even matter?
Yes.
You get rid of one of us, 2 of us, more will come.
I don't want to get rid of you, dear boy.
Now, Jim, you don't have a lot of names. You kind of answer to Mosin. He's your partner. He's your lead contact. And it's done that way on purpose. You know there are plenty of others involved. But as far as actual names, you have one.
And the only name is Mosin.
Correct.
Yeah. So I just go, it's all above my pay grade. Mosin's the only, like, even, I don't even know if I might not even be his real name, but hey, does it even matter? There's more of us out there.
Oh, yes, there's more of us everywhere.
Yeah.
Jim.
You're like bad pennies. You just come back every time. But one day,
vertigo ramps hard. There's a wrenching in your stomach.
Yeah.
It occurs to you that this guy, Martin, didn't antidote anything.
Oh.
Bad stuff begins to happen.
At this point, as I'm kind of feeling wretched, I just look up and go, what was in that second shot?
I look at Martin.
Mr. Morrison, the time for fun is over. Tick-tock. Tick-tock.
Well, I've told you everything I know. You might as
Cramps
well just finish me
begin
off
to
now.
hit major muscle groups. Twisting muscles. Convulsing. It's a painful experience and actually overwhelms the euphoria.
Oh,
You can see
At
his
this
face
point-
twisting. You can even see muscles in his face contort as they cramp.
I can give you the antidote, Jim.
and he lets out this horrendous, like, scream in pain. And
I walk
says-
over. Go ahead.
and says, and he kind of tries to get the words out of, I have told you everything. Just please end this.
I walk over to him and I roll up my sleeve and I.
Oh,
Your personal nightmare occurs in front of you. Memories of your family. Memories of things you've seen. Things you've interrupted. Things you've nightmared about are occurring in front of you. The Major opens a vein.
I look up at him and I go, you are not putting that shit in me. I would sooner die than so much as be tainted by your kind.
Well, in that case, Martin, hold him down.
Yes, sir. Martin again walks behind you, grabbing you gruffly by the hair and pulling your head back, taking
And
a
I'll
hold
force
of
the
your
blood into his
beard
mouth.
and pulling your mouth open.
And I'll force the blood into him.
The warm, coppery rush of blood rushes into James's mouth, into his throat,
Successful on my rouse check.
as Martin clamps a finger over his nose, pushing his mouth shut, awaiting the inevitable cough and sputter, as one would gasp for air when there is none left in lungs.
I'm going to give him a pop in the xiphoid process to force the swallow reflex.
Unwittingly, James coughs, sputters, gulping for air as vampiric vitae rushes into his system. There's a odd sensation. Almost instantly, again, there's a sense of euphoria, but it's different. It's intense. It's emotional. The effects of whatever drugs were piping through his system almost cease immediately. The systematic cramping of every muscle in his body stops. There's an accompanied sense and surge of strength as you wrestle with the restraints. You can almost feel yourself deforming the cuffs beneath your wrists, although not breaking them. There's an inhuman strength. Your sight becomes laser focused. Details in the room that were in dim light now stand out as if under a microscope. The absolute details of the Major's face as he watches you go through this transformation get etched into your mind. You can almost hear him beckoning to you in your mind. That sensation of awe is nearly doubled. Suddenly, against your best judgment, you like the Major.
There, doesn't
At
that
this-
feel better, James?
It's like nothing I've ever had before. It feels like I'm touching stars themselves.
And that is where we're going to pause our scene for the evening. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. So very wonderful vignette. Thank you, viewing audience, for joining us. We hope you enjoyed our brief look into the life of Sergeant Delaney and the new life
Major
of
Delaney.
Mr. Morrison, Mr.
Mm.
Major Thomas Delaney. We hope you will join us this Saturday for our normal game at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, this same bat station. We do look forward to seeing you. Please hang around. When we fade to black here, we're going to run a quick PSA as we keep a mindful watch on our isolation in the world of COVID-19 and the mental health of us all. It is an important thing. We hope that you are mindful of it. And if you know someone that might be in crisis or needs help, please reach out to them. Let them know that you care and that you're thinking of them. And if they need it, don't hesitate. Use the resources that we put up on the screen to offer help to someone that might be in need. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you all, and we'll see you again on Saturday.
Hello, I'm Nick Weird. You may know me as Chops. I'm here to remind you that your mental health is a very important thing. We all have problems, and sometimes it can be hard to share them because we don't want to burden other people, or we're too afraid or ashamed of the things we've done to even try. But your friends and family are here for a reason. They'd much rather hear about what's happening in your life than ever hear that something terrible has happened to you. And if you feel like you can't talk to your friends or family, there's resources available for that too. Please reach out to them. There's no need to go through this alone. We all need help sometimes, and there's no reason to feel ashamed or feel afraid to ask for it, especially if you need it right now.
If you or someone you know is in crisis, whether they are considering suicide or not, please call the toll-free lifeline at 800-273-TALK. Again, that is 800-273-8255 to speak with a trained crisis counselor 24/7. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline connects you with a crisis center in the Lifeline network that is closest to your location. Your call will be answered by a trained crisis worker who will listen empathetically and without judgment. The crisis worker will work to ensure that you feel safe and identify options and information about mental health services in your area. Your call is confidential and free. Unable or unsure about calling? Text NAMI, that is N-A-M-I, to 741-741 to connect with a trained crisis counselor to receive free 24/7 crisis support via text message. Again, text NAMI to 741-741. You are not alone. Trained expert advocates are available 24/7 to provide confidential support to anyone experiencing domestic violence or seeking resources and information. Help is available in Spanish and other languages. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 800-799-SAFE. Again, that is 800-799-7233. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, help is available. Call the National Sexual Assault Hotline at 800-656-HOPE. Again, that number is 800 656 4673. To connect with a trained staff member from a sexual assault service provider in your area that offers access to a range of free services. Disaster Distress Helpline. Call 1-800-985-5990 or text "Talk with Us" to 66746. The Disaster Distress Helpline provides immediate crisis counseling for people who are experiencing emotional distress related to any natural or human-caused disaster. The helpline is free, multilingual, confidential, and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call 1-800-985-5990 or text "Talk with Us" to 66746. Again, the number is 1-800-985-5990 or text "Talk with Us" to 66746.